We have a lot to cover, so I will go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today for this exciting webinar on how CRIO and Triley are working together to make patient recruitment faster, easier, more efficient for clinical research sites. So for those who may not know me, I am Nikki Gandhi, the founder of CRIO's Partners Program. Prior to CRIO, I managed patient acquisition for a CRIO-powered clinical research site network. So my goal in building out CRIO's Partners Program has been to create practical, site-friendly integrations that actually work within site workflows, not add more burden. Because sites don't need another standalone tool, we need recruitment to be easier. So that's why I'm spotlighting Triley today. Triley is a CRIO recruiting partner that specializes in AI-powered patient matching within EMRs. So their integration with CRIO enables sites to identify patients that meet eligibility criteria directly from your EMR, eliminating the need for time-consuming manual chart reviews, which ultimately will make recruitment more efficient. So importantly, the integration is, very simple to enable, and I'll show you the partner directory and trials listing within it, located in the Help Center at the end of this. So it's super easy to incorporate the integration into your recruitment workflows. It's really just the click of a button. So to show you exactly how this integration works, I'm excited to introduce Kyle McAllister, founder and CEO of Triley. So over the next 15 minutes, Kyle will walk you through a live demo of the Triley CRIO integration in action so you can see it firsthand and how it eliminates manual recruitment tasks and can accelerate your patient enrollment. So Kyle, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Nikki. I'm going to share my screen here, so give me just a second. Oh, can y'all see that? Or Nikki, can you see that? We're
Yes.
good? Okay, perfect. Well, yeah, thanks again, Nikki. Really excited to be a part of the webinar. Thanks everybody for attending. I'm going to walk you through just a couple of slides before we get into the star of the show, the actual live demo of our integration with CRIO. But going to walk you through a little bit of like a quick intro to us and our founding team, strategic context for what we do before we get into the live demo, and then quick case study. And then we'll actually open it up to some Q&A. There's a Q&A feature here on the webinar, so feel free to drop questions as I'm walking through things. And then we'll pass it back over to Nikki to wrap us up. So without further ado, jumping in. Quick intro to us. Our founding team comes from EHR background, working at Epic and at Cerner, as well as a site background. So working at CCT Research as the VP of data, actually working through a lot of these problems and duct taping together EHR-based solutions to positively impact the research we were doing. And that's kind of merged with large Silicon Valley, like rigor of solution development with Ramon and Trevor's experience at Zapier as machine learning and data engineers building experimental data products with Zapier. I'll talk through the depth of the platform in just a second, but the core of what we do is match clinical trial criteria from a protocol to clinical data, mostly the EHR, but other clinical data sets as well. And that gives you the ability to get into access parts of the population that you're just not able to access with your eyeballs alone or with reporting tools through the EHR, largely because we can get into unstructured data as well as structured data, but unstructured physician notes, PDFs, data that contains a lot about a patient that's just not accessible through current reporting tools that are available to you through the EHR or other solutions. And ultimately, getting that access enables you to drive lower screen fail rates because you can find better fit patients to start and prioritize your recruitment with those patients. Helps you get better studies by improving feasibility. If you understand the populations at your sites better, you can better fit trials to those. Triley also helps in that. We actually help our sites drive studies into the pipeline. We're constantly talking to sponsors and CROs. And so we can help actually represent the sites that we work with for trials that they're working on. And then obviously there's a relief and a burden to site staff. So BD folks, feasibility folks, CRCs and recruiters benefit from the fact that we can augment big chunks of what they do with the AI that we're creating. The goal is not to replace anybody. It's to just give superpowers to the folks at the site level. One of the big advantages, and we're actually going to talk through a case study at the end here that highlights this, but one of the big advantages here is once Triley is connected, the day you get the protocol from the sponsor, you can generate hundreds to thousands, depending on the size of your population and the complexity of the protocol, large lead lists from day one. You know, SIV start, you can have hundreds of stack ranked leads for a study. They're higher quality matches, like I said before. That helps drive down screen fail rates and obviously is more cost efficient if you're not waiting for leads to come in through, ad-based sources. You have that list available immediately, and you don't have to waste time with patients that aren't going to be a fit for the trial ultimately. One last slide before we get to the star of the show and actually get into the demo here, but just want you to understand the background of what's actually happening before we pull up the demo. So Triley's core is an AI-based EHR matching solution, a patient matching solution. So we're able to take raw clinical trial protocols, PDF format, and connect to your clinical data. Like I said, primarily the EHR, generally via API, but can work with other means as well. And ultimately, our AI engine pairs those two things together. So the two obvious outputs of that are we match patients to trials, which you'll see in just a second here, but also trials to your sites. And then finally, as you review those matches through Triley, you can push those out to your recruiting CRM, or in this case, CRIO. We have a direct integration with CRIO, and you can actually push those patients directly to them. So I'm going to jump into a quick demo here. Keep questions coming. I can't see right now if anybody's asking them, but please feel free to ask them as we go. I feel like I'm flying through this, but we got 15 minutes. So this is Triley. This is our recruiting platform. These are the inclusion exclusion criteria for a demo dermatology study that we've got here. On the right are your patient matches and some information about the overall population that got matched to this study. But the workflow really begins with our protocols page. So you can actually upload a protocol here, literally drag and drop like Google Drive, Dropbox, give it a title, pick the sites you want to run that protocol against. And when you hit upload, that actually hands it directly to our AI engine, and that engine immediately parses that protocol. Takes just a couple of minutes, and then the output, like I said, is this inclusion exclusion criteria listed here on the left. And then the patient matches get generated off of those criteria built from the protocol. You can stack rank those patients based on their fit to this criteria. So like I said, this is super helpful when you're just starting a trial. You get your big list of patients, and ultimately you can drive to the ones that are the best fit. The other thing we do with this population, or with what we do, is there's 342 patients in this population that were considered for the study. So they are patients that could be a fit, and they range anywhere from having a large amount of data in the EHR that supports them being a match for the study, to some patients that we're maybe less sure about. There's not enough data. There's some uncertainty in the data. We don't remove those patients. We keep them in for consideration. From our experience in doing this recruitment directly, is you want to focus in on a narrow subset to start and be able to widen your lens as you go through, doing outreach to these patients. And so that's what we've done here. We've used our criteria cards to filter and dial into a couple of specific criteria that are the most important to us on this protocol. And that took our population down to 100 patients. Within that, you can look at an individual patient. For this dermatology study, we can look at very specific, detailed information about every line of the criteria and see why the patient was or wasn't a fit, or what we're unsure about for when we actually call the patient to screen them for the study. So once we've gotten down to a couple of patients that we're excited about, so we'll start with Samantha and Alexander here. We can actually push those over to CRIO to actually be pushed into where we're driving our recruitment. These are two patients we want to push into the recruiting workflow. And so here's the export button to actually push these patients over to CRIO. You pick a site that you push in the patients to, which study, and then your referral source exported from Triley. When you hit export, that actually pushes the patients over to CRIO. You can view that export live here. And so you've got details on which patients got sent over, that they were successfully completed. And now let's hop over to CRIO and take a look at that. And so this is where I'm logged in as a test user to our sandbox. We're on the recruitment tab under the smart lists where these patients get pushed. And then we're going to look up, let's do Alexander. Alexander Ward was the patient we just pushed over. We'll pull Alexander up. You can see the match percentage that came with Alexander, and then we'll go to Alexander's profile. And you can see that the original source was from Triley. So that's our demo. Super exciting to roll this out. Really excited to chat with folks about it. Please reach out if you want to see any more details about this. Happy to do a deeper demo with anybody. I'm gonna hit one more slide before we hit Q&A and pass it back over to Nikki, but just wanted to highlight a case study with one of our really great design partners, Next Stage Clinical Research. We've worked really closely with Next Stage really from the beginning of Triley's existence and have learned a lot together. This case study comes from an obesity trial we did together. It was struggling to enroll for a few months before Next Stage got involved. And so Next Stage got a site assigned where Triley was already installed in pulling data from the EHR. And day one of the SIV had 500 stack ranked leads, ended up being able to enroll really quickly. For that trial, we saw chart reviews go down 90%. Their teams did a ton of work really reviewing the chart. We were able to cut a significant amount of that work from their CRC's time. That reduced screen fail rates because we had better fit patients to start. And then our monthly enrollment rate went way up, 200% increase. And ultimately, Charlie was the number one enrolling source for that trial. So thank you to the Next Stage team. We learned a lot with you, and together, they've been a great partner for us. So I'm going to pause there. I'm going to jump into Q&A. I'm going to stop the share because I can't see the questions from this page, but if they're, I'll stop here and hop over there.
And then if you could send it back over to me and make me a host, are you able? So I can screen share it and let them know how they can get in touch with you.
Perfect. 1 second. Okay, you should be host
Thank
now.
you.
Yep.
I am going to let you know how you can get in touch with Kyle and the Triley team. So if you go to your question mark for the Help Center, you can go into the partner directory by clicking the Partners tab. And then within here, you can either search the partner directory. There's a lot of different services in here, but you can, type in Triley. And when you click Triley, you will get to this page, and right here is that button to enable the API. So it's super quick, super easy to enable the integration and set it up, and it'll be set up within 24 hours. So Kyle, go ahead and are you able to see the Q&A?
Yeah, I'll talk through a couple of them. I know we're about to hit time too, so if we get cut off, we'll make sure to answer afterwards. But one question was, do we need to have our own EHR database? And the answer is, if you want, no. We work with sites that we're using their CTMS data. We're using large banks of like PDF medical histories. So it doesn't have to come from EHR data. But obviously, if we want to search EHR data, we'd have to have an EHR database. So we work directly with each individual site's EHR and the trials that site's running. We don't run EHR data from sites that aren't engaged in that trial, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers that. There's another question of similar lines, but that would we be pulling patients from the site's own EHR database? Yes.
Yeah, if you don't mind, in that demo, that would be, Kyle was grabbing from, and let's say your PI's EMR, selecting identifying patients that are potentially eligible, and that was that Alexander patient, and then being sent into CRIO. Just to
Exactly.
orient.
Yep. And if you're a situation where you had multiple sites, or maybe you had multiple referring physicians from the community, we can connect to like your referring physician partners, We've done that in a number of instances, and you can select which of those data sets should be running on any given protocol. Um, let's see. Some physicians prefer to provide the patients on their own rather than allowing access to the study team. Yeah, and that's definitely something we've seen as well. How can we pitch this to some of these sites so they're comfortable using this tool to excel recruitment? It's a really good question. We partner directly with all the sites we work with all of our customers, and are happy to get involved in those conversations directly. It's a very different conversation when you can come to it and say, I used to work for Epic, I used to work for Cerner, and here's how we're keeping your data really safe. Obviously, we're not pressuring or pushing anyone into doing this, but like to give them comfort in the fact that how we're keeping the data really, really safe. But really good question. Yeah, something we partner directly with our sites to help have those conversations. Well, I know we're running out of time here, but how does Triley improve enrollment rates for clinical trials? What is the EMR consent process like? So, yeah, that case study that I showed, we've been able to have great success both driving down like time spent doing this review process. Most of the sites we work with today are either using the EHR reporting tools, which are really limited, or they're doing a ton of manual chart review. So that time savings is a huge piece of like a KPI, thing we help sites improve. And then enrollment rates have been, the sites we're working with, we're the number one source for recruitment at that site. So we're driving the most patients into the trial. That example I gave a second ago, we improved their enrollment rate by 200%. So yeah, it's been effective live. Someone asked, is there a cost associated with this? Yes, we do a monthly subscription cost. If you're wanting to chat more, happy to talk with you more about it afterward. Um, Sorry, I'm flying through these, but somebody asked about HIPAA. We work directly with the sites or the physicians that have relationships with these sites. So in all instances, our site customers have BAAs directly with the physicians that they're working with. We sign BAAs with our sites to be covered from a HIPAA perspective. Um, yeah, so and everything on the platform that we're working with is also, HIPAA certified, HIPAA covered. We have BAs with any technology that's connected to our platform. What do you think, Nikki? Should we keep going, or we have a couple more questions, but
Yeah,
I
you
want to be
can
respectful of time.
let's say we'll do one more and then we'll cut it. But everyone, just so you know, you'll be sent this recording. You can reference it at any time. But yeah, let's take one more.
Someone asked, what if we have a really antiquated EHR, which we run into a lot. We work directly with some of the biggest EHRs that have really strong APIs or connection points, but we've also worked with some really small mom and pop and older EHRs. We can connect pretty confidently to connect to just about any of them. So yeah, reach out if you have more questions. Happy to talk through your specific situation.
Thanks. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Again, you will get this recording via email, and feel free to reach out to the Trially team via the partner directory in the Help Center. Feel free to reach out to me if you are interested in this integration. So thanks, everyone, for attending.
Thank you all. Thanks, Nikki.
Bye.